The average new car in America right now costs $49,353. The average car payment is $748 a month, and the average auto loan stretches nearly 70 months. But here's the number nobody talks about. The median salary in this country is $62,192. So right now, the typical American is being asked to spend almost 80% of their yearly income on a single depreciating asset. And most people do it without blinking. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how much car your salary actually buys you. Not what the dealership says you can afford, not what the bank pre-approves you for, but what you can actually handle without wrecking your financial future. Because the gap between what you can finance and what you can afford might be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Now, here's where most people get this completely wrong. When you walk into a dealership, the first question they ask isn't, "What's your budget?" It's, "What monthly payment are you comfortable with?" And that question is designed to do one thing: stretch your loan term until the payment sounds small enough to say yes. That's why nearly half of all auto loan borrowers in this country are now on loan terms longer than 72 months. Some are going 84. That's 7 years of payments on something that loses value every single day you own it. The dealership doesn't care if you can afford the car. They care if you can afford the payment. And those are two completely different things. The payment is how they sell it. The total cost is how they profit from it. And you're the one left holding a car worth less than what you owe on it 3 years in. Think about it this way. A $49,000 car, financed at 6.8% interest over 84 months, costs you around $62,700 by the time you make your last payment. That's almost $14,000 just in interest. And after 7 years, that car might be worth $15,000 on a good day. You handed over $62,700 for something now worth $15,000. That's not a purchase. That's a wealth transfer, straight out of your pocket and into the finance company's balance sheet. And it gets worse. A new car loses 20 to 30% of its value in the first year alone. So that $49,000 vehicle could be worth $35,000 just 12 months after you drove it off the lot, while you still owe close to $46,000 on it. That gap between what you owe and what the car is worth is called negative equity. And right now, 29.3% of all trade-ins in this country are underwater. The average person with an upside-down loan owes $7,214 more than their car is worth. That's an all-time record. Some people owe $10,000 or more beyond the car's value, and many of them roll that negative equity into their next car loan, which means they start their next purchase already thousands of dollars in the hole. It's a cycle that gets harder to escape with every trade-in. This is the path most Americans are on right now. Subprime auto loan delinquencies just hit a 32-year record high. Over 6.5% of subprime borrowers are at least 60 days behind on payments. Some 2.2 million cars were repossessed last year alone. So let's get into what the math really says. There's a rule financial planners have used for decades called the 24-10 rule. Here's how it works. Put at least 20% down on the car. Finance it for no more than 4 years. That's 48 months. And keep your total monthly transportation costs, including your car payment, insurance, and gas, under 10% of your gross monthly income. This isn't some extreme frugality hack. This is the baseline for not letting a vehicle destroy your entire budget. And when you actually apply this rule to real salaries, the results are shocking. Let me walk you through the numbers at 4 different income levels. If you earn $40,000 a year, your gross monthly income is about $3,333. 10% of that is $333. That's your total transportation budget, covering your payment, insurance, gas, everything. Average full coverage insurance right now runs about $180 a month. Gas for the typical driver costs around $160 a month. Add those up, and you're already at $340. That leaves you negative $7 for your actual car payment. At $40,000, the 24-10 rule says you realistically can't afford any car payment at all. Your best move is a reliable used car you can buy outright with cash, something in the $8,000 to $12,000 range. Skip the loan. Skip the interest. Just get something dependable and put the money you'd be spending on a payment into a savings account instead. At $50,000 a year, your gross monthly is $4,167. Your 10% transportation cap is $417. After insurance and gas, you've got roughly $77 a month for a car payment. In today's market, $77 a month gets you almost nothing on a loan. Over 48 months, that only covers about $3,300 in total financing. Add a small cash down payment, and your realistic total car budget lands somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000. That's a solid used sedan, a Honda Civic, a Toyota Corolla, a Mazda 3 with reasonable mileage. Not flashy, but it keeps your finances completely intact while everyone else is drowning in payments. At $75,000, things start to open up a little. Gross monthly is $6,250. Your 10% cap is $625. After insurance and gas, roughly $285 a month can go toward the car payment. Over 48 months, that's about $13,700 in financing. With a 20% down payment, your total car budget lands around $17,000 to $22,000. That gets you a certified pre-owned vehicle with low miles, or a modest new sedan if you find the right deal. And this is where most people earning $75,000 go completely sideways. They see the salary and feel like they've earned a $45,000 SUV. The bank will approve it every time. But the math doesn't support it. And 2 years later, they're wondering why they can't save anything. At $100,000, your gross monthly is $8,333. The 10% cap gives you $833 for all transportation costs. After insurance and gas, about $493 is left for the car payment. Over 48 months, that finances roughly $21,200. With a 20% down payment, your comfortable car budget falls between $26,000 and $30,000. That's a well-equipped new compact SUV or a low-mileage certified pre-owned mid-size vehicle. And you'd still have a healthy financial picture across the board. Now, here's what makes all of this really eye-opening. The average new car in this country sells for $49,353. To buy that car responsibly, using the 24-10 rule, you'd need a household income of roughly $150,000 a year. Only about 18% of American households earn that much, which means over 80% of the country cannot responsibly afford the average new car being sold today. The entire auto industry has built its sales model around a product that most Americans can't actually afford. They bridge the gap with 72 and 84-month loans, tiny down payments, and monthly payment manipulation. That's not financial access. That's financial quicksand. and it's pulling millions of people deeper into debt every single month. And the car payment itself is only part of the real cost. The average total cost of owning a new car in this country runs about $11,577 per year. That's $965 a month when you factor in the payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and repairs. Almost $1,000 a month just to keep your vehicle on the road. On a $62,000 salary, that's nearly 19% of your gross income going to transportation alone. That's almost double the recommended 10%. No wonder so many people feel broke, even with a steady paycheck. So here's your action plan, step by step. First, figure out your gross monthly income before taxes. Second, multiply it by 0.10. That number is your total transportation ceiling for the month. Third, subtract about $340 for insurance and gas combined. Whatever's left is your actual car payment budget. Fourth, multiply that payment by 48 to see how much you can realistically finance. Fifth, add your 20% down payment on top. That final number is the car you can truly afford. Write it down, stick it on your fridge, take it to the dealership. Because the salesperson's entire job is to make you forget that number. Your job is to remember it, no matter what. And if the number feels low, that's not a problem with the math. That's the math telling you something important. It's telling you to buy less car and build more wealth. Every dollar you don't sink into a depreciating vehicle is a dollar that can go toward an emergency fund, retirement, investing, or paying down debt that's actually holding you back. The people who build real financial freedom aren't the ones driving the most impressive cars. They're the ones who kept their transportation costs low long enough to let their money grow somewhere else. One last thing I want you to carry with you. A car is a tool. It moves you from point A to point B. It is not a scoreboard for your success. The person driving a paid-off Camry with $50,000 invested is wealthier than the person leasing a BMW with $800 monthly payments and nothing in the bank. Wealth is not what you drive. Wealth is what you keep. If this video shifted the way you think about your car budget, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.